You, me, honestly, everyone all want to be successful. We're all looking for that magic formula, that magic bullet for success. Why is that the case? Why are we just so hyper focused on success and attaining it? It seems like a pointless question to ask. Why do we want to be successful? I mean, why not, right? But just take a moment and really think for yourself for a moment. Why do I want to be successful? I also took some time to think about this question because I can't say I've explicitly asked myself this directly either. And when I thought about it, my answer is really that we tend to associate success with happiness. And personally, I don't really believe that we're wired to be happy. I think it's more that we're taught. It's ingrained in us by family, friends, especially the media and content we consume day in and day out. All are sending this message of go be happy, do what makes you happy. So go be successful. But oftentimes, the most successful people, at least by conventional standards or definitions, are the most miserable. There's a disconnect. And it all boils down to how we define success to begin with. The achieving of the results wanted or hoped for. Achievement and success going hand in hand, I won't disagree with. But oftentimes, especially in Western society, we typically have a very particular idea or image of what constitutes achievement. And it's this sort of idea or image that is more closely aligned with some of the other definitions we see out there for success: the attainment of wealth, position, honors, or the like. Most of society, at least in Western cultures, operates with this definition or image of success in mind. And we see it in how we view and treat the entrepreneur, the athlete, the celebrity, and even the doctor, the lawyer, the software engineer. As long as there is wealth, status, reputation, respect involved, you've got everything you apparently need to be successful, right? At least in the eyes of society. But as we've talked about, despite people routinely checking off these boxes and ending up successful, they're still entirely unhappy. And that's the thing, right? When we pursue success, we're not necessarily pursuing it for the achievement itself, but rather the feeling that comes with it. But when we operate with this definition of success that the rest of society is using, we're more focused on how other people think and feel about us. When the only person whose thoughts and feelings really matter are your own. So, in order to become successful, the first and honestly most important step is to come up with your own unique definition. And I don't mean what success looks like, right? because looks, as we all know, are only skin deep, but instead focusing on what success feels like. Because a feeling is so much more powerful. A feeling is unique to who you are at your core and all of your experiences. And the more you understand yourself, the clearer your definition will be, the clearer that feeling will be. And to start, you can ask yourself questions like, when have I felt the most fulfilled, the most inspired? When have I felt the most proud of myself? I'd also encourage you to, in your answer, strip away wealth, status, reputation. Because the last thing you need is an answer that is influenced by society or other people, as we've talked about this entire video. You want a definition that is true to yourself. And you'll know if you're being true to yourself. Because it's a feeling in your heart that only you know for certain. When I think about my own definition of success, and more importantly, how it's changed over the years, I mean, it definitely started out more in line with the typical definition we use and see in society, which makes sense. My parents immigrated here to the US in pursuit of the American dream. And when they finally attained it, they pass it on to my older brother and I to get good grades so you can get into the reputable school, get a reputable job with a reputable salary, move into a reputable school district, and rinse and repeat on for your kids and every generation after that. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all. And I'm so grateful to my parents for having provided me with all the privilege that I've received. But it was never my dream. And I couldn't bring myself to realize it. Maybe I just didn't know myself well enough at the time. As I remember when I was going to my senior year of college, and I got the call saying I'd received the return offer from my internship for the job I would eventually work after graduation. A job that was ladled with wealth, status, and reputation, right? All the makings to be successful. And I remember running down the stairs more excited for them than for myself. And after sharing the news and getting the congratulations and all that, I went up to my room and I felt nothing. I felt empty, which shouldn't success mean I'm all of a sudden happy? I'm game over, like I've won the game? It was like, is this it? Like, what's next? And I mean, I went through the rest of that final year at college and eventually graduating and working the 6 months that I did before realizing that I'd been living to someone else's definition of success. I'd been chasing how other people feel and think about me. I'd been pursuing someone else's dream, living someone else's life. And that's a hard realization to have. It really is. But in the time since, which interestingly enough is almost exactly a year ago since I quit, my definition and relationship with success has inevitably changed, excuse me. When I think about my definition of success now, it's quite simple. Make myself proud. That's it. Because I'd spent my entire life trying to make other people proud. And now I realized none of that matters. If you can't make yourself proud, nothing else matters. And obviously, there's a bit more nuance to my answer if you peel back the layers a bit. Making myself proud means staying and living true to myself, which means living in alignment with my character, my core values, and my purpose in life. All of those different areas contribute to this profound feeling of success that I experience day in and day out, especially when I'm sitting here alone in my apartment making these videos. The crazy thing is, these feelings aren't anything new. I've experienced them before in my life. I just couldn't connect the dots at the time because I just didn't know myself well enough, didn't understand myself enough at the time. So by that definition, and that way of thinking, the same goes for you. Whether you realize it or not, you've already experienced your own definition of success. You've experienced that feeling. The real question is whether or not you choose to connect the dots, to come up with that definition, to explicitly spell it out for yourself, and to, more importantly, live by it. Even when society and everyone else around you is trying to convince you otherwise.